Abraham Lincoln, Lawyer, President, Emancipator, by Pamela Hill Nettleton, illustrated by Becky Shipe. Read aloud by Big Papa Scott. Abraham Lincoln faced many great challenges in his life. No matter how difficult they were, he never gave up. He cared about people and he was a great leader. As the 16th President of the United States, Abe helped change history with his caring ways and his powerful words and action. This is the story of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was born on a farm in Kentucky in 1809. When Abe was 7, the family moved west to Indiana. The Lincolns were poor, but they worked hard. When Abe was only 8, he could swing an axe. He helped his father cut down trees to clear fields for farming. They built a new log cabin and put up fences. Abe could not go to school very often. In fact, if you added up all the days he went to school, it would total less than 1 year. His family needed him to chop wood to do chores, but Abe really wanted to learn. He spent a lot of his free time reading. Books and paper were hard to find. Sometimes Abe wrote on wood with a knife. Abe's mother, Nancy Hanks Lincoln, died when Abe was 9. A year later, his father married Sarah Bush Johnson. She became Abe's stepmother. Abe was sad that his mother had died, but he liked his stepmother. Abe's mother died from drinking bad milk. The milk came from a cow that had eaten poisonous plants. When Abe was 21 years old, the family moved again to find a better life in Illinois. They had to start over, clearing land and building a cabin. Abe tried many jobs. He worked on riverboats. He worked in a store. He split wood to make fence rails. He was very tall and thin, but he was strong. People liked Abe. He told stories that made them laugh. He was friendly and kind, and he told the truth. Abe's nickname was Honest Abe. When Abe was 22, his family moved again, but he didn't go. He went to New Orleans, Louisiana, on one of his riverboat trips. There he saw a slave market for the first time, and he didn't like it. People were buying black slaves. The slaves had chains on their hands and feet. During the early years of America, many black people were sold as slaves. Slave owners made their slaves work hard. Slaves got food, clothing, and housing, but no pay. They had to follow their owners' wishes. Abe returned to Illinois and settled in New Salem. He ran for the state legislature but lost. Again, he tried many jobs, such as owning a store, mapping land, and being postmaster. But he liked politics and finally was elected to the Illinois House of Representatives in 1834. He also studied to become a lawyer. The frontier had no law schools, so Abe made up homework for himself. He studied hard and became a lawyer in 1836. Abe sometimes walked 20 miles from his home in New Salem to Springfield to borrow books. Abe was elected to the Illinois legislature 3 more times. Then, in 1846, he was elected to represent Illinois in Congress in Washington, D.C. Later, Abe returned to Illinois and became one of the state's best lawyers. Abe married a lively woman named Mary Todd in 1842. They had 4 sons, but 3 of them died young. This made Abe and his wife very sad for many years. Abe became interested in politics again because of slavery. Some states in the South allowed it. States in the North did not. Abe and Senator Stephen Douglas from Illinois argued about this. Was it right to own slaves? Lincoln said no. Douglas said each state should decide. Many people heard about the debates between Lincoln and Douglas. Some thought Abe would make a good president, but people in the South did not like his ideas about slavery. Abe decided to run for president, and he was elected in 1860. By the time he started the job, 7 southern states had joined together and formed their own government. 4 others followed. A few months later, the North and South were fighting what came to be called the Civil War. The southern states called themselves the Confederate States of America. Abe wanted the country to stop fighting. He also wanted to stop the spread of slavery. He wrote and spoke boldly for peace and for unity in the country. If the South had won the Civil War, the United States might be 2 countries today. As president, Abe made a ruling in 1863 called the Emancipation Proclamation. This ruling changed the Civil War. At first, the purpose of the war was to keep the North and South together. Abe's ruling made it a war to free the slaves as well. Slaves in the South were allowed to join the Army or Navy in the North and be free. Many did, and it greatly helped the North. After the big Civil War battle at Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, Abe made a famous speech called the Gettysburg Address. He spoke for only 2 minutes, but his wise words are still remembered. He said the nation should stand for freedom and equality. Thousands of people died in the Civil War. Finally, the North won a major battle on April 9, 1865. Abe hoped the war would soon be over. He wanted the country to heal and become a strong nation. 5 days later, Abe was watching a play at Ford's Theater. A man named John Wilkes Booth shot Abe in the back of the head. John was angry that the South was losing the war, and he blamed Abe. Abe died on April 15, 1865. Many people throughout the country mourned his death. In May, the war ended with a victory for the North. This meant that Abe's wish for a united country came true. Today, many people think of Abraham Lincoln as one of the greatest Americans. The Lincoln Memorial was built in Washington, D.C. to honor Abraham Lincoln. The end. If you enjoyed the book, please subscribe. Hit the like button too. There's gifts in the description, and please donate to patreon.com/BigPapaScott or the PayPal address below. Thank you.